Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our Sabbath class, 21st of August, 2021. Same back channel. We're going to pick up where we left off last night with the Blacks in America. We're going to go all the way in on it. So with that being said, I'm asking everybody to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. And for those who don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. It's, we deal with the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible that was given to Moses by our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. And with that being said, I want to say shalom and welcome to everyone. And we're going to do our moment of silence, prayer, and songs, and then do a little current events. Then we're going to go right into the class. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto thee. Therefore we come before thee at this hour, seeking thy face and looking for rightness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee as thy servant David and Solomon, Samuel and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad, for you possess the power to do so. For we desire to walk after thee, O Lord, and to keep your commandments and your testimony, your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of this covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon your people. Hear our plea, hear and do, O Lord. Hide not thy face from us any longer, for we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. So I want to read the Psalms. I'm going to read Psalms 89. You know, because that's where the drum is. Psalms 89. So God's promises to David says, I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever with my mouth. I will make known thy faithfulness to all generations. For I have said, mercy shall be built up forever. Thy faithfulness shall thou establish in the very heavens. I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto David, my servant. Read that again. I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto David, my servant. Thy seed will I establish forever and build up thy throne to all generations, Shelah. And the heavens shall praise thy wonders, O Lord, thy faithfulness also in the congregation of the saints. For who in the heavens can be compared unto the Lord? Who among the sons of the mighty can be likened unto the Lord? God is greatly to be feared in the assembly of the saints, and to be had in reference of all them that are about him. O Lord God of hosts, who is a strong Lord, likened unto thee, or to a faithfulness round about thee. Thou rulest the ragings of the sea. When the waves whereof arise, thou stillest them. Thou hast broken Rahab in pieces as one that is slain. Thou hast scattered thine enemies with thy strong arm. The heavens are thine. The earth also is thine. As for the world and the fullness thereof, thou hast founded them. The north and the south, thou hast created them. Tabor and Hermon shall rejoice in thy name. Thou hast a mighty arm, strong is thy hand, and high is thy right hand. Justice and judgment are the habitation of thy throne. Mercy and truth shall go before thee. Blessed is the people that know the joyful sound. They shall walk, O Lord, in the light of thy countenance. In thy name shall they rejoice all day, and in thy righteousness shall they be exalted. For thou art the glory of their strength, and in thy favor our horn shall be exalted. For the Lord is our defense, and the Holy One of Israel is our King. Then thou speakest in a vision to the Holy One, and said, I have laid help upon one that is mighty. I have exalted one chosen out of the people. I have found David, my servant. With my holy oil have I anointed him, with whom my hand shall be established. Mine arm also shall strengthen him. The enemy shall not exact upon him, nor the sons of wickedness afflict him. I will beat down his foes before his face, plague them that hate him, but my faithfulness and my mercy shall be with him. In my name shall his horn be exalted. I will set his hand also in the sea, and his right hand in the rivers. He shall cry unto me, Thou art my Father, my God, the rock of my salvation. Also will I make him my firstborn, higher than the kings of the earth. My mercy will I keep for him forevermore, and my covenant shall stand fast with him. His seed also will I make to endure forever, and his throne as the days of heaven. If his children forsake my law and walk not in my judgment, if they break my statutes, keep not my commandments, then will I visit their transgressions with a rod, and their iniquity with stripes. Nevertheless, my loving kindness will I not utterly take from him, nor suffer my faithfulness to fail. My covenant will I not break, nor alter, the thing that is gone out of my lips. Once have I sworn by my holiness that I will not lie unto David. His seed shall endure forever, and his throne as the sun before me. I shall be established. It shall be established forever as a moon, and as a faithful witness in heaven. Selah, but thou hast cast off and abhorred. Thou hast been wroth with thine anointed. Thou hast made void the covenant of thy servant. Thou hast profaned his crown by casting it to the ground. Thou hast broken down all his hedges. Thou hast brought his strongholds to ruin. All that pass by the way spoil him. He is a reproach to his neighbors. Thou hast set up the right hand of the adversary. Thou hast made all his enemies to rejoice. Thou hast also turned the edge of the sword, and has made him to stand in battle. Has not made him to stand in the battle. Thou hast made his glory to cease. Cast his throne down to the ground. The days of his youth hast thou shortened. Thou hast covered him with shame. Shelah, how long, Lord, wilt thou hide thyself forever? Shall thy wrath burn like fire? Remember how short my time is, wherefore hast thou made all men in vain. What man is he that liveth and shall not see death? Shall he deliver his soul from the hand of the grave? Shelah, Lord, where are thy former loving kindness which thou swearest unto David in thy truth? Remember, Lord, the reproach of thy servant, how I do bear in my bosom the reproach of all the mighty people, wherewith thine enemies have reproached. O Lord, wherewith thou have reproached the footsteps of thine anointing. Blessed be the Lord forevermore. Amen. Amen. So that was Psalms 89. Anybody have any questions, comments on that? Okay, anything ring a bell? Okay.
Yeah.
What you got?
King David's throne is going to be established forever. He made it clear who his son and king is, who the king of Israel is.
Right. Said he's gonna never change. He never break his covenant. So that void is the New Testament right there. Put that on the burner. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Anybody got any current events? Okay.
I do.
What you got?
The military put out a video only for, I guess, active duty members and people that are not active,
Right.
saying that in Oregon they're getting ready to call them back to duty, and
Right.
they're saying, quote unquote, to help the hospital,
Right.
but they are looking for 500 airmen.
Right. Oh yeah, I watched that. That's big because that's gonna go. That was just an argument. So that's gonna go from one state to the next It kind of reminded me of Kenyatta playing.
Right.
That's what it reminded me of.
Right. I thought that was big too. That just came out yesterday.
Right. Yeah, I was watching that. That's a sign. That's a major sign. It's on hammer time. Yeah, they got to bring all those people, all those Afghan nationals back over here too. All that stuff is all one big old pot of gumbo. Yeah.
Right, and they were saying, I don't know whoever this lady is over it, but anyway, she was saying that if you need any kind of dental work or whatever, get
Right.
it done now
Right.
because they're gonna call you back in regardless.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's some lot. It's a lot of stuff getting ready to happen. They know it. And they're getting prepared for it. You know. Right. Yeah. I was like I said. That was just August. She was over the National Guard for state of Oregon.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, just that they protesting all over Europe, Melbourne, Australia for the lock.
Right.
Britain, I guess they protesting to help Afghanistan.
Right.
Yeah, man, they wilding out right now.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Like I was saying before about that harps. That's what they do. They gotta start uh protest. All they need to do is start and get it going. Then they use that harps, intensify it. Same way they do with a hurricane. They just crank it up. It's over there. It's like 150 acres of number these antennas, and they shoot this beam up to the ionosphere and charge it. Then it reflects off of the satellite and shoot it back down to the earth. And if you got a storm, like the storm going now, see, if in a normal situation, it probably just be a tropical storm. But once they shoot the beam down in front of it, heat all that water up, that's when it intensifies. That's how you're getting all these super storms. They're doing the same thing on the land with frequencies. They shoot it on a certain area where they already started chaos at. It's already brewing. When they put that beam on that area, nanotechnology incorporated in there, then chaos break out all over the place, all over the area where they got the beam at. They do the same thing with the earthquakes. So, like I said, check it out. It's harps, and it's you had people in the earlier back in the 2000, 2005 was talking about harps, but it's off the charts now because they didn't technology didn't increase, and that nanotechnology just in everything is off the charts now with that nanotechnology. They got mosquitoes and bugs and all that. They robots, but they act just like regular insects. You never know it. But like I said, do the research on it. Yeah. So let me get this right here.
One more thing.
Okay.
In New Jersey, they said over 100 teachers are going to retire or resign
Right.
next month.
Yeah. So like I said, that's gonna go from one state to the next. They already know that. So that's telling you right there, schools ain't gonna be able to handle that. They're gonna take the children out of school.
So, so it's at 100 teachers per district or what? Because I can't see the significance.
In New Jersey, there was an article that said 100 teachers are going to resign or retire.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it says. So
Is
100
it
teachers
across the United States or just in one area? I don't know.
in New Jersey. In New Jersey, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
my
I'll put the
the
link
sound
in.
is got
Yeah.
static in it. That's why I can't.
Okay. Yeah, in New Jersey.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So here we go right here. With all that going on, this just a, it's icing on the cake. This is I mean, and really this right here is embarrassing. So this is can you see that?
Yes.
This is let me get it. It's Taliban celebrating their new U.S. arsenal, rifles and Humvees and ammo. U.S. national security officials are working to account for more than 20 years worth of weapons provided to the Afghan military, as images of Taliban fighters uh, brandishing American-made rifles and riding in abandoned Humvees and raising concern about what else that was left behind. So anybody that get shot or killed from this point on, you know what I'm saying? It's on America. But there's some, so it's the Taliban newfound American arsenal is likely not limited to small arms, as the group captures sizable stockpiles of weapons and vehicles held as strong arms once controlled by U.S.-backed forces, including modern mine-resistant vehicles, MRAPs, and Humvees. Initial estimates suggest that the Taliban may now also possess several Black Hawk helicopters. Come on now. And U.S. Funded military aircraft, according to the congressional source familiar with early assessment provided by the defense officials. That potentially include roughly 20 A-29 I guess that word, attack planes, and source said nothing there are some indications that only a small number of aircrafts were relocated from the base in Kandahar before it was overturned by the Taliban. So they in a pickle. That ain't good. Any comments?
It seemed like it was done on purpose. Like they left everything on purpose. Like I know I watched a documentary one time about this guy that used to gang bang in Chicago back in the day, and he was saying how he would walk through the neighborhood, him and other people, and boxes of like automatic weapons and things like that that you just can't find nowhere would just be laying in their neighborhoods. And he made the comment that there was no gun store nowhere near or in Chicago at all, but they would find boxes of weapons, bullets, and things like that. And that's how they would get these guns on the street. So it just seemed like America purposely left these things here to pretend that, oh, this was a mistake, but to give the Taliban an opportunity to take the weapons and to cause destruction, to make it seem like, oh, without America being over there, it's going to be chaos. But really, they are the ones that's always throwing stones but hiding their hands.
Right there. The thing, the point. I saw that video. The guy he was talking about how they tried to discredit him, but he was saying, how can or the type of weapons that the people was having in Chicago, you can't get them at no gun store. So how did they get them? And then on top of that, how can you get such an sophisticated weapon and get everything you need to go with it? It's one thing getting the weapon, but how you gonna get the ammo and all that with it? So like I said, when you start thinking like a Hebrew, you can see that they drop them just like the man said. They had to drop them in crates, and they dropped everything that you need to operate it. You can't no other answer, because like I said, especially if you done dealt with weapons and been in the military, how you gonna get a? And it's one thing to get a machine gun, but what about the weapons and everything that go with it in order for you to use it, to apply it? It only makes sense. Yeah.
That's the same
That's
thing I
crazy.
was thinking about when I heard all these different sophisticated equipment that they left behind. Who taught them how to operate it?
Right. Exactly. Right. And this ain't the first time they had these Afghan people had an all-out war with Russia. and America was behind the scenes of funding them all kind of weapons because they was trying to embarrass, they was trying to keep Russian forces from overcoming Afghan, and they got into a same kind of war that America got in with Afghanistan. They got run down and dug in and came to a stall, and then Russia had to back out. But the Taliban had all those weapons America done gave them. So here we go. We're right back at the same place again.
I believe America made a deal with them.
Okay. Right. Yeah, him with the what his name? That family, Bin Laden's. Yeah, you can Google that. It's an interesting story on that. How Bin
Yeah, I
Laden.
seen a video about them interviewing the Bin Ladens and stuff like that,
Right. Yeah.
and how basically they said that America was the ones that was behind 9/11, and how they ran up on them and was beating them with guns and doing all type of stuff to them. That
Right.
it really be, America behind everything, but acting like they the ones that's perfect in the world.
Exactly. And the whole time, they behind the scenes. That's why, like I said, I don't understand how people, after all the information, YouTube and all the information that comes out, how can you believe anything they say and take it, take their word for law? When you got the information at your fingertips, all you got to do is go and Google it, and see, then go to 3 or 4 different sources, and you can rightly divide the information gonna come out. So let me do this right here. So this is another one right here. It's NATO, not America, but NATO is working 24/7 to get out as many people out of Afghanistan as possible. And she said the NATO Security General, check this out. NATO Security General Gene, see that? Stoltenberg, that's an Edomite, in particular the Zionists. And you have to keep an eye for that. So they working everything. They working all the strings. When you start paying attention, they there. So he said, just like at the council in Seal, Ebus or Caesarea, that's the Edomite. He the one presiding over the council in Seal with Constantine. Everything we're dealing with today, he the one concocted, a Edomite. So it says countries that have offered to receive refugees include Poland, Hungary, Canada. These are serious and hard questions to ask about how the troops withdrawal from Afghanistan was executed. You see. But staying in the country meant there was a risk of an open-ended military conflict, casualties, more violent and perhaps the need to send more troops in. This. So, see, they're behind the scenes dictating all this. There we go. They already planned all this. This incoming.
How do they know that these people are not going to be Taliban disguised as refugees to come into the United States to do destruction, to, you know, do their part of the King Alfred plan? I'm not sure. Have you seen that movie with Denzel Washington where he robbed a bank and all the people that was in the bank was switching clothes and switching places with the hostages? So it was a bunch of confusion. So they wasn't able to tell who the bank robbers was versus who the hostages was. So
Right.
how would they be able to tell that these people aren't Taliban disguised as refugees coming into the United States?
Well, that's all part of the plan. They all working together. They all working together. They got us. They got us. The regular population thinking that they at odds with each other, but they're not at odds with each other. They all working together. It's like I said, I gave an example, which was just right there in people's face, but they ain't dealing with the NSA. The NSA forever and a day, Russia and America been working together with the NSA. So what's all this stuff about Gorbachev and all that was going on with him and Reagan and all them years? They working together. They got us thinking, it's only like people keep telling you over and over again. It's way more us than them. So they got to brainwash the population to make us think, they got to keep us dumbed down, to control us. But it's only a few of them, but they got, they got everybody else wing. Yeah, they working together, stay in power. They can, we can see with the banking system. They, Lehman Brothers, they all connected at the hip. So you can't sit back and say, oh, I'm gonna let Lehman Brothers collapse, because you saw what happened. It's a chain effect. So they can't sit over and say, well, the people over in Great Britain, Queen Elizabeth and all them, we're gonna let them go down. No, because when Queen Elizabeth will go down, all other people in all other countries are gonna go down too. So they all working together to stay where they at, stay on top. Two in the world. Like you say, 13 ruling families. Edomites. They're ascended from Herod. That's what's going on. Okay, so let me play this right here. I'm gonna play this right here, and then we'll go into the lesson. This is an insult right here too. I mean, you done seen these people faces all over the news last few months or so, or last year. These 3 senators, they got the vaccine. 3 U.S. senators test positive in a breakthrough COVID case. 3 U.S. senators, here we go. The Edomites announced Thursday that they all have tested positive for the coronavirus. All 3 senators were vaccinated and experiencing breakthrough cases of, see that? So they supposedly they got the best of the COVID research and technology, but they still came up with the virus. That's an insult. Is there something? Still got it. There you go. So that ought to send off alarm bells right there. It says, despite taking precautions and receiving the vaccine this morning, I tested positive for COVID-19, King tweeted. While I am not feeling great, I'm definitely feeling much better than I would have without the vaccine. Come on, man. See that? Is there something? Any comments?
Wow. I was listening last night, and I understand that there's 2 more variants that are supposed to be. Well, one is already in the United States and it's stronger than the Delta, worse.
Right. That's why that's why they calling up the National Guard. They already know
Mm-hmm.
what's happening.
They're
And like
not
I
telling
said,
people.
right,
Yeah.
right. It's gonna go from one state to the next. That's just a way of, like I said, they work this subliminally. So you already know it ain't gonna just be an audit. It's gonna go from state to state. It just everything's starting to come in play, like I was saying before, how a lot of people was waking up, a lot of information was coming out back in around between 2005, 2015, when they was showing how back to the NSA, how they got America divided up into 4 regions, FEMA regions, 10 FEMA regions. And then you got you got the however many states it is, you got 54 governors, but they got 10 governors that's each one of them govern those 10 regions. All that stuff starting to come into play now. But they back in the day when people was exposing it, people saying this and saying that. Now we see why all that stuff was in place. It's coming into play now. All the stuff that David Icke was talking about, and the brother that was talking about the Kenyatta plan is all coming into play right now. They got they've been had a system in place, but with just what they're doing.
Wasn't that last night? We was watching a video about they want to try to blame it on the black people, the virus.
Right.
Right.
That's where it's going to end up.
Yep.
That's how it's going to end up. Yeah. So something I was going to say right before I started was I playing the song about I Am Shem, right? And so when you listen to that, that's all debacle. because of that we fled from Israel and went in on the west coast of Africa. They came and got us from Africa, right? So right there, they got us thinking that we Africans because of where they got us from, but not knowing the story that we was Israelites and fled into Africa, and they came and got us. So what are the curses? What are the curse telling us? The curse is telling us that we're gonna be called everything but Israelites. That's the problem. That's what. So everywhere you got to understand. Everybody then tried to say they're the Israelites. We've been cast off. Nobody know who we are, but everybody else for 400, 2,500 years, everybody else been posing as Israelites. So I'm gonna give you a couple of examples before we go get into this, because it'll make the lesson a lot more clear. So I'm over here in 2 Kings, chapter 17. This been going on forever and a day. So Lord of hosts wasn't playing when he said that he was gonna cast us out. I'm in 2 Kings, and I'm gonna start at verse 24. So the situation is that the 10 tribes after Jeroboam took over. Remember, he had fled to Egypt, so he had picked up all his picked up this worship, Egyptian worship. So when Most High gave him the 10 tribes, he didn't appreciate that. He went down and he built some calves, just like Aaron did at Mount Sinai. And then he started hating on the southern kingdom where David's lineage was at. And that's so he didn't want to go. He didn't want to bring the 10 tribes every year to go there for the festivals and for the Day of Atonement, because he knew the spirit of the Israelites, the righteous ones, was going to be toward that seed of David. So he didn't want that. So that's what clowns doing all over the place right now. They say they're moray, but when somebody comes with the spirit of the Most High on them and breaking down scriptures, they don't want you around. That's how you can write a divide. So anyway, he didn't want him to. They didn't want the Israelites, the 10 tribes coming up there around David's seed. So he built another temple down there in the other area where they ended up worship up in the mountains where these fallen angels at, going up in the high places. So he brought the king of Assyria to get him. Let's see what he did. So and the king of Assyria came and got the 10 tribes. I'm picking it up in 2 Kings 17, verse 24. And the king of Assyria brought men. Look at this. King of Assyria, I'm going to start up at 21. 20. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them to the hands of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Israel, this is the 10 tribes. He rent Israel from the house of David. See that? So he rent Israel from the house of David. The southern kingdom got a seed of David over there. That's what it's telling you. Unto us a son is given. Got nothing to do with JC in the New Testament. So he says, for he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, king, and Jeroboam drove Israel from following the Lord. See that? And made them sin, a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did, and departed not from them, until the Lord removed Israel, that's the 10 tribes, out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants, the prophets. See that? So let's look at that. Until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said, see that? Said by all the prophets. Now, this is what all the prophets talking about. They ain't talking about no JC. See that? They ain't talking about no JC. That was injected. All the prophets talking about this. So it says, so was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. Now 24, here we go. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon. See this? King of Assyria brought men from Babylon, from Kukut, from Ava. When you do the research on that word Ava, that's Ethiopians. Ham seed, that's the people over there right now with the churches, the Ethiopian churches. They say they're Israelites, wearing Israelite garb. And the Edomites then went over there and got a bunch of them, airlifted a bunch of them back to Israel. They ain't no Israelites. So everybody posing as Israelites. That's part of Deuteronomy 28. So he says right here, Ava, and from Hamath, and from Seraphim, see that? And placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel, and they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities of Samaria. So there we go, Samaria. So the real Israelites was taken out right here. So all this information and all the goings on with Samaria, them ain't Israelites. So they existed there for over 1,000 years, posing as Israelites. So look at the nation. Look how many nations that is. It says 24. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon. That's one group of people. Kut, Ava, Hamath. There's like 6 different nations of people. Then we know Samaria was eventually driven out. So 6 different nations of people now that live in Israel, posing as Israelites, calling themselves Israelites to this day. You gotta understand that. And then one of the major groups is the Ethiopians, Ham seed. We just saw Greeks ran us out, not in 70 AD. They ran us out in 143 BC. We went on the west coast of Africa. Now we believe to be Africans to this very day. We believe to be Africans. So I showed you over here in Ezra. Let's look at Ezra. I'm in Ezra. We're in Ezra. And it says, like I said, Assyria, the providence of Assyria was where the 10 real children of Israel was at. They was taken out of the land and brought other people in there and replaced them. So now Most High prophesied he was going to bring Cyrus. Cyrus wicked as hell, but he got anointing on him. The Lord hosts with him. So he comes in chapter 1 of Ezra, and he says, now, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation, a commandment, throughout all. Back there, I told you how they play with words. So they put proclamation there so it won't match up with Daniel 9:25, which is a commandment. That's what this is. So he made a commandment. See that? Cyrus, king of Persia, made a commandment throughout all his kingdoms and put it in writing, saying, thus says Cyrus, the king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven have given me all the kingdoms of the earth, all the kingdoms. I mean, Syria too. 10 tribes in Assyria. You say, of the earth. See that? Assyria ain't on Mars or Pluto somewhere, it's on the earth. So Cyrus over it. So he says, have given me all the kingdoms of the earth and have charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judea. Who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him. Let him go up to Jerusalem. So all of them, all the 10 tribes. He didn't scatter the southern kingdom to Babylon, and now they back in the under the same rulership under Cyrus. The 10 tribes are just in a different providence, but Cyrus over all of them. They don't want you to know this. So he says, who is among you of all his people? Not half of them or 3 tribes, all his people. His God be with him. Let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judea, and build a house of his Lord God of Israel. He is God, which is in Jerusalem. Now, this is where the story gets interesting in. So when he made this proclamation, it tells you in 2nd Ezra, to show you how slick Esau is, they said, the 10 tribes said, we're going to go to a land where no man liveth. When he made his proclamation, he said, we're going to go to a land that no man liveth. They ain't want to go back to Israel. So that's when the 10 tribes left and went into Africa. but they wanted to make you think they went to America. And I'm gonna show you how big a joke that is in a minute. So anyway, so that's how they hoodwink. So you saying I can, where you get that from? How you write it divided? Yahweh gave it to me. That's how I can write it divided. It's hammer time. So let's look at it. We're gonna go into it. Any comments so far? Everybody good? So yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here we go. I'm get this first one. Tie your shoes up. There we go. So this is the first one right here. Undeniable proof. I started on this last night. I'm gonna pick up on this. Okay. Play some more of this. Let me get it.
Channel.
Keep in mind, Psalms 83 too. Same people that's in Psalms 83, same ones that stole our identity too.
In this video, we will be exploring evidence that proves that the first Americans were African. African empires in ancient America tells the story of the numerous African groups who colonized Mexico, North and South America. Today, most people believe that African people never voyaged outside of Africa except as slaves. This is false. The Dufana boat discovered in Nigeria dates back to 12,000 BC. And hundreds of ancient...
So that in itself right there tell you that whoever these people over here was, they've been over here long before the Israelites and the 12 tribes and all that. They've been over here. Okay.
Ancient African boats have been engraved on rocks in the Sahara Desert. Boats from Magan, Egypt, and Meluha, Kush, East Africa are mentioned in the Sumerian cuneiform text.
Kush, same ones that's posing as Israelites today, just over there in Israel. I mean, over there in Ethiopia.
Evidence suggests that ancient Africans sailed to South America and Asia hundreds of years before the Europeans. This evidence debunks the propaganda that Europeans were the first to sail to the Americas. Many ancient societies in Africa built different types of boats, from small vessels to large ships that could carry up to 80 tons. Africans have a long tradition of sea exploration and founded many of the major American civilizations. Although many people have heard about the possible discovery of America by Mansu Abukari of the Mali Empire, and
that's the guy I was telling you about. He's the reason that Mansa Musa came into power. He had Most High put a spirit on him, and he took out like 2,000 ships, 200,000 from 2,000 ships, and they left. He wanted to know what was on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. And he left, never came back. Okay, and so we know he made it because look at this. You know, these Negro heads. They ain't no Israelites. Okay.
And the giant Olmec heads of Mexico.
There you go.
This is also paired with a much earlier account of Black people with incredible skills at sea. Back in 445 BC, the Greek historian Herodotus wrote of King Ramses III leading a team of Africans at sea with outstanding seafaring and navigational skills. Together, both accounts would point to Africans sailing over.
So why they got astounding sea navigational skills? That's why the fallen angels came down there. They disconnected all these dots. The 200 angels came down. The geographical location they came down was Africa. Right? Let's look at that right quick. Right there in the scriptures. So you say, what you talking about? When an angel come down sleep with a woman, you get a giant. That's how you can write a divide. Like I say, a giant show up in your neighborhood, then you got to know it's an angel somewhere. He ain't just pop up out of nowhere. It's an angel and slept with a woman. The reason why he did. So I'm over here in Genesis chapter 10. Let me get it right quick. Chapter 10 in verse 12. Where 11 says, out of the land went forth Asher and built Nineveh and the city of Reba. It says, and resident between Nineveh and Caleb, and the same is the great city. Here we go. 13, Mizraim. So that Mizraim, that's Egyptian. That's another name for the Egyptians. But notice it's got the I am on it. Giants. The Egyptians is giants. That's why they oppressing the 6th-day man. So then he got from Mizraim, Luden, all the way down to 20. Giants. All it's a whole giant. So it ain't hard to figure out where they 200 angels went. They went to Egypt. That's why the sea wasn't none for them to navigate the sea. They're supernatural beings. So they've been over here. We got us fumbling with it. So there we go. Let's keep going.
Were the New World before Columbus. In his book, African Empires in Ancient America, Dr. Clyde Winters gives a detailed account of the Malayan.
See what he said? African 6th-day man. Mizraim. African empires in ancient America.
Colonies established by these Western Africans in North America and Brazil.
Here we go. See how they look?
You will discover the role of the She or Olmec people as the mother culture of Mexico. Dr. Winters outlines the Axumite discovery of America and the role of the Ethiopians in the rise of the Mochicha civilization and religion. In addition, this book discusses the ancient Sumerian influence in South America and the African role as mound builders in the United States. African Empires in Ancient America is the only book that finally explores the history of Black colonization of the Americas before Columbus. It is a must-read for anyone interested in a true history of America. For years, Eurocentric archaeologists have largely turned the other cheek when it came to the discovery.
So that's what he's showing you right here inside this little circle is a door. They opened up, they found it. A hole came in the side of the Grand Canyon. This is what they saw on the walls. See that? And hard to figure out who that is. Mizraim. You go and look at the pictures on the walls and all the tombs. These giants. See what they got on? They got the apron on. Where the Most High gave to Adam and Eve. And he told you that he stole it. That's what that whole secret society I told you about in Egypt is based around that. That's why they got this on. They got the sheepskin. That's what he killed. Lord Michael killed a ram. That's why Abraham them killing rams. He killed a ram and drained the blood out of it and gave the sheepskin to Adam. That's what they got on there right here. Where is that? It ain't wrapped around their head. It's wrapped around their loins, because that's telling you the story. What went down? It's wrapped around their loins, covering their loins, private parts. They found it right here in the Grand Canyon. Yeah, from the Egyptians.
Of artifacts from ancient Egypt being discovered in the Americas. According to Dr. David Imhotep, the author behind the book The First Americans Were Africans, documented evidence, Egyptian artifacts found across North America, from the Algonquian writings on the east coast to the artifacts in Egyptian place names in the Grand Canyon, are all signs of an early arrival in the Americas by Africans. The oldest human skull ever found in America is of a Paleo-Indian woman found in a cave in Brazil, South America. Obviously, she was not alone. Some archaeologists believe the young woman may have been part of the first wave of immigrants to South America.
Okay.
Nicknamed Lucia, her name pays homage to the famous African fossil Lucy, who lived 3.2 million years ago. The 11,500-year-old skeleton was found at Lapa, Família, Brazil in 1975. These are pictures of the Grand Canyon, which many people believe are the pyramids in the U.S.
See that? Ain't no Israelite building no pyramid.
The following, including this slide, shows the contents of the pyramids taken from the Grand Canyon, right here in the U.S.
And so when you look at that, see the long, see the necks? I keep on telling you about the long necks. See that? Long necks ain't just pop up out of nowhere. See that? They go to long necks.
These are pictures taken from the pyramids found in the Grand Canyon.
In the Grand Canyon.
Right here in the U.S.
Ain't no Israelite.
That area in the Grand Canyon
is
known as the Forbidden Zone.
So let's look at it. So you gotta do something. You know what I mean? You gotta do something when it's rightly divided. So we're gonna go to the next. Anybody got any time? I'm gonna go to the next one.
Yeah, I've never seen none of this before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's some things I just choose not to talk about because trying to lay a foundation. But
Brother Leonard,
what you got?
Before you go, the Grand Canyon, there was a guy, and he had what do you call those planes that they're flying now, and they videotape?
A drone?
Yeah, drone over there, because they won't let you go all through the Grand Canyon.
Right, exactly.
They have the base and stuff on there. But anyway, he had a drone on there, and you can see where they had like a covering over the sides of the mountain, but you could see it was like big statues under it. And and it's like camouflage. So if you fly by it, you'll just think it's like trees and stuff, but it's so much stuff over there.
Right, exactly. Right, exactly. And like I said before, they was they've been coming over here. Like I said, you're not dealing with no humans. That's where the Egyptologists is getting offset at. They thinking that they're not thinking, they're not understanding from a Hebrew perspective what happened in the beginning, what happened in the world. You dealing with angelic beings. They don't believe in angelic beings, but that's what made Egypt the civilization that it is. These angels came down there. That's a geographical location they came down there. So anyway, you go to the next one. And so to cross the Atlantic Ocean ain't nothing but going to eating a bowl of cereal to them. That ain't nothing big. So let me get this. Here we go. We're just gonna listen to this conversation a little bit. This is Phil from
Today I'm here with Dr. David M. Hotep. How you doing, Dr. David?
Very well, thank you.
Now, he is the author of the book, The First Americans Were Africans. Now, a while back, we posted a video where he was on the news speaking about his book, and a lot of you got upset. And I'm talking about the ones who don't believe that Africans were here before that savage Christopher Columbus came over here. So Dr. David will explain to you how Africans got over here. But before we get into that, recently Dr. David was attending the Muhammad Ali funeral. Now, Dr. David, how was that funeral?
There were two of them. The second one was the Big Dog and Pony Show. The first one was the one for the family and Muslims, and I was able to get into that. And that was the real funeral. And I'll tell you what, there wasn't a dry eye in the place. It was just, people were just overwhelmed with grief and knowing how they were going to miss this great, wonderful, wonderful human being.
Yeah, because one thing I love about Muhammad Ali is not even his boxing, because that's just in a class of itself. But Muhammad Ali, what he stood up for when it comes to social justice. And one thing I can't stand about the media and what they were doing with Muhammad Ali was relegating him to certain inspirational sayings instead of speaking the things that he really spoke about, saying against injustice. and a system that's trying to suppress, his people. So, Muhammad Ali was definitely an inspiration to everybody. But let's go ahead and get into the real meat of the conversation here. Now, you wrote a book called The First Americans Were Africans. And what was the overall reception of that book? Because that goes against everything that the school teaches us.
Well, the reception is my message is not for everyone. It's mainly for our people, to show them who we were, what we've done, and to overcome some of the myths and the untruths that we have been fed all of our lives. So I would say from high highs to low lows, but very few low lows. The major critics on YouTube, all they do is attack my periphery. They can never touch my central message that the first Americans were Africans, because that issue is backed by 7, soon to be 8 peer-reviewed journal articles, and those are the holy of holies in academia. They cannot be questioned.
Now, what is the name of these articles? So somebody can say, you know what, I want to go research it for myself. What is the name of these articles?
Well, I've got them online. I haven't looked at them for maybe 4 or 5 years, but I can send you a list of them if you would like. I have them online.
Yes, I would like it. That way we can post it in the comments section for people just to go look at it. Because you understand what you're teaching in your book is so contrary to the indoctrination of white supremacy that we get in the schoolhouses of America. We won't really want to solidify with those facts like you have been lied to. So we all know that. Go ahead.
I just want to say one thing is that I'm not here to rock the boat. I'm here to sink it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
These lies that we have been told are things that keep black folks down, keep us apart, and keep us from reaching our highest destiny. At one time in the world, there was a time where the black man ran the world, and there were only black folks on this planet. But this is the last thing that they want us to understand and to know. They want to keep us in a slavery consciousness.
Correct.
Everything is slavery.
Because really, it's a benefit for black people to stay that way, because you get all their talent, you get all their money, you get, everything about them, their soul, their essence, their everything in that state. Now, when you become knowledge of self, is what you're really trying to bring to the forefront. It changes you. You can't help but change once you get this knowledge of self. So let's get into it. Now, the first African people that came here, what kingdom or what dynasty sent ships over here in their time period? How did the ships look like? What they were kind of built out of? We're just curious about that.
This is great, but they came over here tens of thousands, I'd say 30s of thousands of years before the first dynasty. We're talking about when I wrote the book, the furthest back I could take them with a peer-reviewed journal article was 56,000 years, and that's pretty good. 51 to 56,000 years. But in last spring, there was another find in Sierra de Capoeira Park, and that is in Brazil. This is where they first came in. So we can take these finds.
So this long before the 10 tribes. What the brother's showing you, these people, whoever they were or they're over here, they ain't Israelites. They've been here. This is way back for the dynasties, around the first, second, third dynasty of the Egyptians, and the 6-day man.
Findings and from thermoluminescence dating of rocks. See, carbon-14 only dates things that were alive at one time, but thermoluminescence can date rocks from the loss of electrons over time. And the date that they found was 100,000 years ago. Now, this is before there were any wooden ships. The Pope Laval said that the Pope Laval, by the way, is the Bible of the Aztecs and the Mayans, and they said that they came over. These first people came over in ships of bark. Well, in order for them to differentiate ships, why would they have to say ships of bark if there weren't another type of ship? And the first types of ship that they came over here with and traversed the world were papyrus boats. Which papyrus is looks just like sugarcane. So they had papyrus reed boats that they tied together the reeds and they made boats from. So this is the type of boats and crafts that they came over in. So
okay. So any comments on that? I'm gonna move to the next one. Okay. 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 Okay, we got okay, yeah. Here we go. Notice that it all goes back to Africa. Here we go.
So my main interest at the time was exploring the cave. I wanted to know what it was, how far it went. There are bronze weapons in there, swords, spears, shields, knives, many artifacts, something like 7,000. No two are exactly the same. It proves that many of the things that have been taught in elementary school, high school, and colleges is wrong.
Lies.
They were treasure hunters searching for that cave. So I decided to completely hide its location. Search all you want, you'll never find it.
The history that we were all taught growing up is wrong. My name is Scott Wolfen, and I'm a forensic geologist. There's a hidden history in this country that nobody knows about. There are pyramids here, chambers, tombs, inscriptions. They're all over this country. We're going to investigate these artifacts and sites, and we're going to get to the truth. Sometimes history isn't what we've been told.
Grand Canyon.
Our country is filled with caves, caverns, and burial chambers that could hide artifacts and sacred wonders from long ago. I've looked for the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail, and other things rumored to be hidden here. I think these things are just waiting to be found by those who search hard enough. Without a doubt, some of the greatest lost treasures of all time are those from ancient Egypt, where vast burial chambers lie virtually empty, the pharaoh's riches having vanished. Many people believe these old world artifacts were brought to the new world, and I think they could be right. A few years ago, I examined some alleged Egyptian artifacts said to have been found in a cave in rural Illinois. But Illinois isn't the only place said to hide such treasures. That's why I'm heading to another place where many think ancient Egyptians once came with their vast riches, the Grand Canyon. Stretching 277 miles, the Grand Canyon is about 18 miles wide and up to 6,000 feet deep. It was carved out by the Colorado River about 500 million years ago, and the layering of the rock reveals a huge amount of our nation's geological history. And there are caves here, but only a few.
So what you looking at is what people not really dealing with on this is it was a big river coming down through here. And like the guy was saying, they saw what they did over there with the Nile River. When they came over here, they did the same thing with the rivers over here. So, but all we see now is the Grand Canyon, but it was water coming all down through here. See how deep he said it was? 6,000 feet deep. It was water down here, water here. So when they came over here, they picked up what they were doing over there. They've been over here. Okay? But they see right here was America on Earth. The Egyptian treasure discovered in the Grand Canyon. You want to watch it. Go to the next one. Going somewhere. Okay, this is here we go right here. I'm gonna let this run for a minute. We got all the evidence from earlier presentations. We're gonna look at this.
13 colonies.
All right. Gotta go back.
The slaves in South Carolina. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to another edition of Natural Niche and the Alternative Guy. My name is Hashem. Today we have a special guest. We've had him a couple times before, and he's a very serious, powerful historian, and he's a homegrown historian. I just want him to introduce himself again for those that haven't heard of him. So, Brother Muhammad, tell us a little bit about yourself. My name is Muhammad Ali Salam. I'm a native of Snow Hill Institute, Alabama. School founded by one of the first graduates of Booker T. Washington at Tuskegee Institute, carried on the Booker T. Washington program. From there, my education included a degree in history from Lincoln University, where I studied under Dr. Lorenzo Green, protege of Potter G. Woodson, who assisted him in establishing, in fact, the Negro History Week, which became the month. And from there, I studied what was called Third World History at the University of Missouri, and Spanish and Arabic at the University of South Florida and Tampa, Florida. And I'm the author of the book, A Black Man's Journey in America. So I am pleased to be here today with my good friend Hashem. Okay, so today we got a real serious, very neglected topic that we want to cover today. And
Black Indian.
The topic is the study of Native Americans. And we know that that's an extensive subject, so we're going to try to cover some of the bases today. But I also want to recognize two other people, and that's Dan Calloway and Chief Warhorse. She's an Indian chief down in Louisiana. So,
like I was saying, all you gotta do is look at them. That's what we ain't doing. You talk to you blue in the face, all you gotta do is look at the DNA.
I want to acknowledge those
DNA gonna get away
and give kudos to them for their work. So today we're going to cover some of the same topics, probably from a slightly another perspective, and we're going to have some references that we'll cover too. So we'll have pictures of different books where if you want to do some research on these topics,
see that?
You can do so yourself.
So we're going to start off with the question of the major tribes and their struggles against the white intrusions of this land.
Again, as I expressed to Hashem, and as he just reiterated, the history of the Native America is too general for such a short presentation. So we were going to try to narrow it down to the Native American in the Southeast. And those major tribes in the Southeast, as we know, was what the white man Hawkins later termed as the 5 civilized tribes, as he were trying to civilize them into the ways of the white man, in short, to get them from continuing their struggle against him. And that was the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Creek, the Cherokee, and the Seminole. Now, of most of these names that we know regarding the identity of those Indians were names that were given to them by the white man. Those general tribes belong to basically the tribe of the Muskogees, is basically who they were. Perhaps the Cherokee might be original, because we know that word. Perhaps not, but I was thinking in terms of many of them was located in northern Alabama and where it borders Tennessee, and on that Tennessee River, because that word Tennessee, was a Cherokee word. But I think it's important to first understand that you really cannot discuss the history of the Native American without discussing the history of Black America. Their relationship was so entwined in the shaping of those two cultures and in the undermining of those two cultures here in the United States of America. And as we know, the Indian don't resent that word Indian. Many of them resent the word Native American. They don't even want the word America attached to them, because they were nations, and a lot of them prefer the term indigenous. So in prefacing this, before we get into the Native America or the indigenous people in the Americas, is what we have to first define. And this might seem inconsequential to our subject, Hashem, but the indigenous people to America, according to the scholars of Americas in the antiquity, Leo Weiner and Barry Fell and Sertima, more recent, was the Black people themselves. So when we think of the Native American we see today, and many of them we see, and we'll get to that $5 Indian that you like so much, but even the Native American that we think looked like the Native American, the original Native American didn't even look like them. The original Native American were Black people. And these scholars prove that as early as 700 BC, we're talking about 700.
It's their origin. It was here 700 years ago, BC. They ain't Israelites.
Years before Christ.
See that?
That the Cushite dynasty that ruled Egypt, the 25th dynasty,
Ham.
Tirahaka and Piake, they found coins and artifacts in the Americas that prove that these people had been to the Americas. And so the Native Americans we think of today, we think of them as dating back maybe as late as 13,000 years ago. But when you're talking about the origin of the Americas, you're talking about Black people having been over here some 100,000s of years.
Okay.
So I hope I didn't.
No. We needed to bring that out because
right.
That's the missing. You know, we got to connect the dots,
right?
And that's what's information like this has been missing out of the whole puzzle.
Exactly.
And so that's what we're here for. Okay, so I appreciate that. So now let's get into like, okay, so why was Florida so important in this struggle?
Well, during the British colonial period in the Americas, with the 13 colonies, the slaves in South Carolina, as we know, Florida.
So let me say something right quick. See, 13 colonies, them Edomites, they posing as Israelites. That's when all this other drama came in. These lying Edomites came, injecting all this into it. But we see who was here before that, before these Edomites came. Like I say, it's two Israels. It's a fake Israel that you got to take in consideration, and you got the real Israelites. They on the west coast of Africa, but you got the people that got the whole world thinking the Israelites is these fake Edomites. Now they all of a sudden they in America, because they running from the sword that Yahweh got on them. Okay.
Was one of the competing European countries for dominance in the Americas. It was basically France, Spain, Britain were the leading competitors. Well, Spain as a...
That's where Harry went. We got to go all the way in. Spain, I showed you in 70 AD, Harry's lineage was sent to Spain. That's where the 3 ships left from. They came here. The Edomites got the whole world thinking they Israelites.
Strategy against the British made a treaty with the black slaves in the Carolinas, saying that if you would escape from the Carolinas into Florida, we will give you sanctuary and we will give you liberty on the condition that you convert to Catholicism.
Okay, so this was
during the colonial period.
Yeah, so this was after. So the Native Americans were already here, and they were established as nations.
Yeah.
Until so who was the first one to come? The Spanish?
The Spanish were the first.
Spain.
The first, yeah.
Edomites.
And so this is why the colony of Georgia, which is the 13th and last colony, was actually formed. Because Oglethorpe went to King George, from which Georgia is named after, and told him, let me create a buffer colony between South Carolina and Florida, because we are losing many slaves from the Carolinas. And in fact, Oglethorpe lost his life in Florida fighting against those. So those slaves in the Carolinas escaped into Florida. In fact, the first autonomous town in America, black autonomous town in America, was what was called Fort Mose. They named it Fort Mose. And they named it that word in honor of Moses, because Moses was leading the Israelites out of Egypt, out of bondage into freedom. So they named it Fort Mose. You can go there now and visit it. It's right outside St. Petersburg. So when they got to Florida...
So let's look at that. So we see it's been established for black folks been over here. They ain't Israelites. They've been here from Africans leaving from Africa. So guys showed you that they trying to slaves that they bought in on slave ships, them Israelites. And so they trying to get away from the 13 colonies. They leaving them like flies, running to these people that was these indigenous black people that's already here. So they naming this place Fort Moses because they Israelites. It ain't the people that was already here using these Israelite names. It's the ones that came here using Israelite names. See that? Play a little more of this, and then I'm gonna go somewhere else.
And so,
So Louisiana was a part of Florida. I mean, Louisiana was Florida at one time, right?
part of it, yes. Yes, and Alabama was part of the Mississippi Territory at one time. And the French had Louisiana. And that was a part of that treaty that ended that French-Indian War, is that Florida went to England and Louisiana went to England. And also Canada, in fact, went to England. Because you got to remember that war was about up there in the Ohio Valley. But its implications.
Okay, so this is a neglected history of indigenous Black Indians. If you want to watch all of it, it's like 50 minutes. So let me get back over here. And comment. No comment? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, yeah, I'm just making sure.
Taking
okay,
it all in.
So now I'm gonna go to, well, I mentioned this a while back, which like I say, a lot of people, brothers must not be familiar with. So here we go. This is a article I told you about the Folsom people. So there you go. If you want to do research, FOLSOM, Folsom people. So here we go. Keep in mind, John Smith, the guy that the Mormons, where they're in Colorado. So here we go. Folsom group, also called Folsom people. That's the Black people that I've been showing you that was all been here, occupied. Look at this, Colorado. That's where your boy, all them at over there, Callaway and all them at. Look at it. That's where they all at, hollering about Israel. Folsom group, also called Folsom people for Folsom culture, occupied all of Colorado between the 13th and the 12,000 years ago, way before the Israelites was even a nation. They were not the first people in these areas, although they might have been the first in some newly unglaciated portion of the hierarchies. Nevertheless, Folsom people were widespread throughout Colorado and beyond. And in some places, they are apparently quite numerous. So that whole truckload of them. So we see there ain't no Israelites. You can't throw them away and say, no, they wasn't there. He's telling you right here. These are the people that was there. Right here. These people right here. I'm gonna show you what they look like in a minute. Like I said, what we don't do is we don't look at folks. You gotta look at folks. They can talk to they blue in the face. All you gotta do is look at them. DNA don't lie. Say, a mountain people. Fascinating new data from the Colorado high country suggests that the Rocky Mountains may have been especially heavy human occupation during the Folsom time. Black folks. That's what they are. And then when the conquistadors came, the Edomites came, they bred with them. That's how you get this other Indian. Remember, he's telling you there was some civilized tribes. That's the people that had been here. They came from the Egyptians and the Africans. They civilized. Then you had these other people came. You had Genghis Khan, and those Chinese came across the I think it's called the Gibraltar Strait or whatever. They came in here, and all it's been a whole bunch of intermingling. But the original people that was here was Africans, and they had the area of Colorado over there where all these brothers at, these Israelite stuff. So let's go. So now we're gonna see what they look like. But was you able to see what I was showing just a minute ago?
About the Folsom people, nothing came up.
Okay, my bad. Let me go back. Come on, somebody gotta tell me something whenever yeah. Okay. I went to the wrong place. Here we go. There you go. You see that? Folsom? Can you see that?
Yeah, we got that.
See, Folsom people. That's how you spell it right there. You can Google it. We got a whole truckload of information on them. you go. See, they occupied Colorado between 13 and 1200. I just showed you all that. So these folks are people. Now I'm gonna show you what they look like. It's gonna all come into play. They all just one. They're Africans. Okay, let me get it. There you go. See right here in the corner? There he is. Just showed you Chief Warhorse. See that hair? See that?
Yes.
See that? See that? These ain't no Israelites. And like I said, Jacob was a black man with woolly hair. But just like the Lord of hosts. And his wife was. These some more people. See that? It's all over here. These are people that was here. Well, how we know that? Because the ones that's saying it now, they look just like these people. Right here. See over here in this corner? And this Indian right here tied to Genghis Khan. But these the Folsom people over here that have been here. They're black. They got dark skin. But they got another look on them. See, here go one right here. Man on this right. They've been here. Right here. There you go. See the Indian? Black Indian? These ain't no Israelites.
Is that to say Israelites didn't have long hair?
I mean, you guys look at that. Like I said, do Israelites have red hair?
I didn't say red. I said long.
I'm trying to give you an example. Jacob and Esau was born. So when you seen Esau, is Esau Israelite? No, it can't be no Israelite. Something had to happen. Just like this right here. Israelites ain't got hair like this. They don't look like this.
That's more straight hair.
Some is off. These ain't no Israelites. DNA don't lie. So we just saw who they are. We just had evidence from 5 or 6 different places. Told you who they were. They had been here long before Israel even became a nation. See right here? We go see that. This is another source right here from the intermingling. See, they got this different type of. But these original people that was here, they look like these people over here. Like right here. Yeah, these original people that was here when they came.
So we intermingled with them though, huh?
Right.
When
they brought us on slave ships, yeah. Yeah. But there wasn't no Israelites that was here. There wasn't no 10 tribes. The 10 tribes, just like the brother showing you, Ron Dalton, they still in Africa. And they look like us. They don't have this type of hair. They got hair just like the Lord of Hosts got.
Yeah, I watched that movie. I watched that movie. He had a guy that Hebrews to Negroes, and he was trying to say that the natives over here wore their fringes and they dealt with the Sabbath, and they that's why they chant Yah 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 and stuff like that. So those must have been the ones that intermingled when they came over.
Right. Yeah. They introduced them to you.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And that's like I said before. Everybody wants to be. Let me give you another example. This the big problem that nobody seems to know nothing about. That's the reason why we didn't know who we were until recently. Because everybody want to be the Israelite. They want our inheritance. So I'm in Isaiah right quick. That's the big question in the room. And people taking it lightly, but all the rest of the nations was nothing. So to be an Israelite, to get our identity, that's everything in the world. That means everything in the world is him. So I'm in Isaiah 66. I read this yesterday. So it says, I'm picking up at verse 4, 66 and 4. I also will choose their delusion, and I will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. Talking about the Israelites. And when I spake, they did not hear, but they did evil before mine eyes, and chose that in which I delighted not. Now here go 5. Hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word. Your brethren is Esau. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake. See that? They cast Israelites out. That's in Obadiah. They cast Israelites out because they want to be called Israelites. They cast them out. Ain't that so? I'm gonna come over there when I finish. I come over there when I finish. Okay, so yeah, they cast them out. They cast them out for it says right here in Isaiah 66 that he cast them out for
name.
because they want the land. They want the land for themselves. They want to be called Israelites, just like the Ethiopians did. They did the same thing. They cast them out. Everybody wants Israel's identity, and every chance they get, they come in and they do just that. That's the reason why we, up until this point, didn't know who we was until recently. All because the Most High came in and assisted us, started bringing it back around to our remembrance and bringing these books to us. That's how we found out. Other than that, they had totally cast us off, and that's what Isaiah 43 was talking about. Any comments?
Yeah, I mean that's deep because you got the brothers that are Hotep and they could say
Right,
that they Egyptians all day, but the moment you say you a Hebrew Israelite, they laugh you to scorn.
right. Right, but they ain't got it. Like I said, they're not realizing the reason why the African culture was the way that it was is because of the Egyptian culture the way it was because those fallen angels came there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. So anybody got any comments? Okay, everybody good?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I wanted to clean up there what I was doing last night, because I didn't want to leave no holes in that. So with that being said, I'm gonna close it out right here, and then we're gonna pick it up tonight at 6 o'clock. Shalom.
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 I'll see you
Shalom.
tonight.